Hi, Dr. Zach. In this video, I'm going to show you some really basic stretches that you can do while sitting in a chair. So the basic principles here is we're going to keep our feet planted firmly on the ground while sitting up straight, keeping our spine neutral. And we're going to try to be breathing throughout the exercises to help our muscles relax a little bit, okay? So we're going to start with the neck and then kind of work our way back down. Feel free to stop this video at any time if you want to watch something over again. If something doesn't make sense, feel free to reach out to me directly and I'll kind of walk you through it. So starting with the neck, I'm going to take you through all the normal ranges of motion that your specific body parts should have. And as we begin, you might notice that your joints are a little bit tighter. They might creak, they might pop, they might crack. That's totally okay. But the more consistent we are with these exercises, the more you'll notice that your range of motion improves, maybe your joint pain goes away, and you can move a little bit more freely, and you're a little bit more comfortable moving around. Better coordination, better balance, but it all just takes time and doing it every single day. You can get through this entire routine in about 15 to 20 minutes. And the more often you do it, maybe you notice that you want to do it for a little bit longer because you're starting to feel better. Okay, so we're going to start with the neck. As we're moving through this range of motion, just notice that this is a starting point and we're going to improve as we go. So first is flexion and extension. So sitting my butt all the way back against the chair, I'm going to tuck my chin forward and bring it all the way down and then extend my head all the way back. Good. So we're going to go through each exercise about 10 times, 8 to 10 times, or until you get fatigued, whichever one comes first. So next, we're just going to look over our shoulder into rotation. Same thing here, about 8 or 10 times. You might notice that one side has more range of motion than the other. That's totally okay. But as you start to get more consistent with this, you might notice that it irons out a little bit and you're able to move through a greater range of motion. Now we're going to drop our ear to our shoulder, drop our ear to our shoulder. Go through 8 or 10. Good. Now we're going to go big circles all the way around. Make sure you're breathing. Do 4 or 5 on each side. Good. Now the last one for the neck is just going to be to jut your chin out and to pull it in. Jut it out, pull it in. Jut it out, pull it in. Same thing here, 8 to 10 times. Good. Now we're going to move down into our back here. Okay, so you can scoot your bottom a little bit forward in your chair. And we're just going to work through flexion and extension all the way back. Flexion and extension. So as you come into extension, you might pick up your sternum and allow it to touch the ceiling. All the way down, all the way up, all the way down, and all the way up. So 8 to 10 times in each direction. Now we're going to do some rotations. If your chair has arms on it, it might be helpful to pull yourself around. Just don't force any movement. Just go until your body naturally stops. And switch sides. You might feel some popping or some clicking. It's absolutely normal. We're just not forcing movement. If your chair doesn't have arms, you can just rotate around 8 to 10 times. Now we're going to interlock our fingers, put them behind our head, and lean over one side, and then lean over to the other side, opening up the space here in our outside of our rib cage, this big band of muscle right here known as your latissimus dorsi. You gotta stretch that out. So lift this elbow up to the ceiling, get a big stretch. You can stay in one direction. Take a big breath in. 8 to 10 on each side. Try to keep yourself upright, your spine neutral. Good. So now we're going to switch into shoulders. So the first one here is we're just going to go up into big flexion. We're going to allow our shoulders to fall back, our back to fall over the chair, and our head to fall down. Come back, extend back, and forward. And as you're all the way back, if you're into the far reaches of your extension, and you try to breathe through that space, it's going to allow your muscles to relax a little bit more and help increase your range of motion. Down, up, down, up, and down, up, and down. Good. Now we're going to do some big shoulder rotations. Do 4 or 5 on each side, and then switch direction. Same thing, switch sides. And we're going to go into flexion and extension. So we're going to flex it up and bring it down. Flex up and extension. Same thing here, 4 or 5 on each side. Good. Switch arms. Good. Now we're going to reach over behind our head and touch the opposite shoulder. So reach up, back, back. We're stretching out this lateral shoulder right here. Do 8 or 10 on each side, really opening the shoulder joint up. You can put your arm back and take a big breath in. Now switch arms, reaching up and behind the shoulder, touching the opposite shoulder blade. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. Stretch up. 8 or 10 on each side. Good. Now we're going to move to your wrists. So we're going to move into extension and flexion. Extension, flexion, extension, flexion. Try to maintain your seated posture, sitting up in your chair. Make sure you're breathing. Do 8 or 10 on each side. Do some circles. Make sure our wrists are moving really well. They don't get tight, and we'll get more coordination and motor control. Now we're going to open up our hands and close them. Looks like this. If you don't want to hold your arms up like this, you can just put them down at your side. Working on strength and coordination of our hands and our wrists. Good. Now that we've taken care of the upper half, now we're going to focus on the lower half. So the first one is just hip marches. So we're just going to lift your knee up as high as you can and bring it to the ground, and then switch sides. Try to keep your back flat against the chair. Keep a little bit of core stability so that you're not flopping all over the place. We're breathing. This is really going to give you a lot of strength, balance, coordination while we're walking. We're strengthening our hip flexors, giving ourselves more range of motion, better strength in this position. Good. Once we've gone through about 8 or 10 on each side, or as many as you can tolerate, whichever comes first. Now we're gonna move into hip openers. So move your feet closer together. We're gonna open the hips up and close them. Open up and close them. Open up and close them. So if your chair has arms on it, you can actually push your thighs against the chair to help strengthen your butt muscles. And as we bring our knees together, you can bring your knees together and push them together, which is going to help to activate your groin muscle. You can play with that. Good. Now leg kicks, so you can bring your knees back out to about the approximate width that you would be walking. And we're going to kick our knees out and really turn on this quad. So you can do one leg and then do the other. We're just straightening the leg. The quad right here should be really tight while you're doing this. If you can't quite get your leg all the way up, that's okay. We'll work into that. This is about consistency. This is about making sure that we're getting in reps every single day so that over the course of time, we're getting stronger, we're getting more capable, more functional while we're moving around. Good. After 8 to 10 on each side, now we're going to do our ankles. So you can do these with your feet on the ground, or you can prop them up on your other side, cross your leg over. You can rest your foot on an ottoman or a table. But the idea here is the next one is we're just going to flex and extend our ankles. So I'll do this one first. We're going to flex and extend. Flex and extend. Flex and extend. You can stick your leg out and do this. Flex and extend. We're maintaining good posture. Our butt's pushed back against the chair. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. You might have more success if you put your foot on a table like I mentioned earlier, just so you don't have to hold it up this whole time. But just for demonstration purposes, I'll show it like this. Now, we're going to work on some rotations. So we're just going to rotate our foot around. Do 5 or 6 in one direction, then switch sides. This is really going to help with balance while we're walking, give you a little bit more coordination, because you're going to have more control of your feet and ankles as you're walking. You can cross your legs like this. So we're going to go through circles again. Good. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, this is a really great start to maximizing your health by learning how to take care of your body in a more efficient manner. You can get through this entire routine doing 8 to 10 reps in probably about 15 minutes. If you take it a little bit slower than I did, it might take you 20 minutes. And as you're more consistent with it and your range of motion improves, maybe you decide that you're going to do it a little bit longer to work on your strength and coordination. But just because you have limited range of motion right now doesn't mean that that's not going to come back. We just have to be more consistent, really focus on moving our joints through space. By moving your spine, it works the same as using WD-40 on a rusty hinge. If the hinge isn't working because it's getting bogged down by not using it enough, or it just starts to lose some of its normal functioning, if you spray some type of lubricant within the hinge, it will start to move more freely. It's the same exact way with your joints. So the more often we move, the better. So if you want to do 15 to 20 minutes of your seated stretching routine and then go out for a walk, maybe you notice that you have a little bit more coordination, better balance, you're stronger and more confident while you're walking. So this is just a start. I look forward to watching this kind of expand as we go. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. And I look forward to seeing you soon.